And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from traditional and unceded territory of the Sibshan people. Town celebrations Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from traditional and unceded territory of the Sibshan people. Town celebrations encompass local public events like festivals, parades, and concerts. Events like the Monkey Buffet Festival in Thailand, which provides a feast for local monkeys, or the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta in the U.S. To begin today's Open Connection, returning to our archives to 1978's Kitimat's 25th anniversary.
The summer of '78, but the big times were held in Kitimat in the week-long 25th anniversary celebration, dubbed the biggest party that community has ever seen, and started off with a rock concert. The Vancouver-based group Trooper entertained about 2,000 Kitimat youths. Exciting concert. There were events for everyone in the birthday celebrations, a fashion show, the Summer Fest, the Queen's Ball, a night show featuring 25 years of fun, and sports played its role in festivities with a soccer tournament, 3 ball tournaments, and a zone final for tennis players. And an event that involved folks of all ages, the July 1st Parade. Whether you work on one or just watch, everybody loves a parade. Here's what the parade looked like in Kitimat this summer. Enjoy. Just down the road from Kitimat, the Haisla Indian Band of Kitimat Village was holding a do of their own. In weekend celebrations, the Haislas dedicated their long-awaited new recreation center with 2 traditional totem poles carved and raised for the occasion. These festivities started with 20 Haisla dancers demonstrating the historic song and dance of their people. Clear blue skies backgrounded the beautiful totems and the timeless tradition of the dance for a good spectators. Then the big moment as the ribbon opening the new rec center was cut. It officially dedicated the poles, the new facilities, The poles drew a lot of comment. They're carved by Robbie Stewart of the village, and they are beautiful pieces of work. And day 1 of the Kitimat Village celebrations wrapped up with a banquet and dance. So Sunday opened with a pancake breakfast and a busy schedule of sports. Canoe races were the order of the day. The first, for visiting entries, was won by the Alcan Garage crew and won easily. Fitness Minister Iona Campanolo assisted that crew's effort. These race, the Haisla Maids outstroked the Rockies Angel crew. The waters of the Douglas Channel were in perfect form, and the race proved the most exciting of the day. The Blackfish and Lone Eagle crews carved the calm waters side by side for much of the race, the Blackfish men finally proving the more powerful and claiming the July 1st race honors for the second straight year. The all-native Provincial Men's Soccer Championship. The Victoria Thunderbirds had a shaky start in competition, but after 22 games had been played, they wound up defeating the Port Edward Blues 1-0 in the final. The Hazelden squad finished third. A blend and modern in events, July 1st made the weekend a high point in the summer of '78 at Heisler Village.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thanks for staying with us. Skydiving's origins can be traced to Leonardo da Vinci's 15th century parachute concept. Modern skydiving, defined by free fall and jumping from airplanes, developed in the early 20th century with military applications and stunt jumping. Let us return our guys to a terrace skydiving event during the summer of 1978.
The Terrace Skydiving Club calls its annual event by the name Yucca Flats. This year, 30 entries for 4 days of fun. And again, the weather was ideal. It's mostly a fun competition, but the competition is there nonetheless. And the senior winner this year was Rod Harvey, who brought his experience as a former member of the Canadian skydiving team to the meet and found it paid off. This is Masset on the beautiful Queen Charlotte Islands, a community of about 5,000 people and the home of a Canadian Forces base by the same name. The base is used as a rescue and communication center for the Charlottes. Because of the lower military profile, the station does not celebrate Armed Forces Day, rather chooses to combine forces with the community to celebrate the July 1st weekend. There are a lot of events, all geared for fun and the entertainment of the local citizenry. There are tug-of-wars, an obstacle course for dune buggies and four-wheelers, and a unique game exhibited. The activities include a type of soccer made with fire hoses and a great big ball. All fun in the great community of Masset. There was an unexpected visit this summer in the form of 160 Airstream trailers, which passed through the area on a Wally Byam caravan. The tour lasted about 2 months, and those who travel with the group are well taken care of. We talked to a spokesman for the caravan organizers, Dan Brown, who gave us an insight on travel.
We are traveling around through this area to see the countryside, to meet the people of the area, to get acquainted with them. Our people are mostly people of retired people from the States. Their average age is about 63. They're here to meet people in the community and get acquainted. And we're like a little traveling village. We have our caravan leader, who is similar to the mayor in your village. We have our recreation director, who handles all the various recreation for our group. We have an advance man who traveled the area some 2 months ago and made all advance arrangements for this caravan. Then we have our serviceman, who is like our Department of Public Works, who handles all the problems with the trailers and the vehicles. If they break down on the highway, he's prepared to take care of them. Then we also too have many committees that serve in various ways, such as our ticket man, who sells the tickets for the various tours. We have a mapper who makes a map of each location where we park the caravan. He sets up a map showing where each trailer is so people can locate their friends. We also have a man who has charge of laying out the water lines so that there's water to each and every trailer. We have our caravan ambassador who acts as our ambassador when we have a group of VIPs from the various areas we visit, and they come perhaps and have a welcome program.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. Wally Byam's passion for camping and his wife's dislike for sleeping in tents led him to develop the first Airstream, initially called a Torpedo, which evolved into the Airstream Clipper in 1936. By 1955, there was a thriving community of Airstream owners organizing local rallies, national events, and international caravans. Let us return to our guides to meet those carrying forward Byam's original goals of fun, fellowship, and adventure.
We also have our propane chairman. When we need to buy propane, we work through the propane chairman, and the bottles are brought to the center, picked up in a truck, and carried off filled with propane and returned to the center, and our people pick them up there. We have people from some 34 different states. Florida having the most, which has some 33 trailers in our group are from Florida. California comes in second.
Not all was fun and games in the summer of '78. The same weather that gave us the best of conditions for celebrations of one type or another in area communities also gave us tinder dry conditions throughout the Prince Rupert Forest District. It was hot, it was dry, and the lightning storms that thundered through the area combined with the carelessness of man to produce a series of forest fires, the worst since 1958. And a lot of the summer was spent in the battle to save our forest resource. We had 251 fires in the district this summer. The cost of just fighting them soared to over $6 million. That's not including the loss of timber consumed. The Forest Service officials were coping with high fire hazards already when spring was just fading. Warnings to campers, hikers, and fishermen cautioned repeatedly against the dangers. And the Nass lava beds burned over 1,000 acres was just the beginning. In a 2-week period early in July, 5 of the most major blazes were started, fires that collectively would consume over 50,000 acres of forest. The Slock Fire south of Atlan, caused by lightning on July 5th, it burned across the far northwest wilderness and into the edges of the incredibly beautiful Atlan Park. Inaccessible, in the roughest kinds of terrain, the fire defied efforts of man. While it still burned, another major fire, just 5 days later, a lightning strike near Hazleton, began the Ken Fire that raged along the hills above the north side of the Skeena River and took 7,150 acres to blackened ruin July 12th. A series of storms in the North Country touched off 2 more major fires, the King Fire between Atland and Telegraph Creek, and the Cow Fire in the same isolated area. Officials decided to let these burn unchecked. The King claimed 6,500 acres. The Cow Fire burned over 22,000, the largest of the fires in the summer of '78. Defeating visibility and bringing irritated tears to the eyes of people as far away as Skagway, Alaska. The fires had not joined. It was just too thick to be able to tell. One major fire, not caused by lightning but by the mistakes of man, burned 7,000 acres and threatened homes in the Kitimat Valley. The Cat Fire started just off Highway 25 near the Kitimat River Bridge. Flames ran wild by the 4th day up the valley to Shush Creek. laying smoke like a thick blanket up Creek and into the Thornhill and Terrace areas. Nervous homeowners in the Jack Pine Flats peered through the gray.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
The radio station CFTK in Terrace was founded by J. Fred Weber, who received approval to operate the AM station in 1960, with Skeena Broadcasters Limited as corporate name. Weber later expanded his broadcasting empire, starting Cablevision services in the region in the 1970s. In this final segment of Open Connection, we return to the archives as Weber reflects on CFTK's 25th anniversary.
August 1st marked a very special day for this station. Thursday was the 25th anniversary of Skeena Broadcasters. We managed to catch up with company president Fred Weber long enough to recap the past 25 years and also look ahead to the next 25.
Well, 25 years ago, starting a radio station was quite different than starting one now. Because 25 years ago, if you had an idea and $5,000, you could start a radio station. Now they tell me, and I haven't started a radio station recently, but they tell me now that for any less than $250,000, you have no hope of getting started.
What was it like 25 years ago to be in the broadcasting business?
Well, of course, 25 years ago, you know, you're talking about fairly modern times in the broadcast business. I started in the broadcast business more than 40 years ago. 25 years ago, broadcasting was much the same as today, except for the way we program. And some of the listeners, I think, can relate to this. We used to play music in the old days, you know. Now we have this sort of rock stuff that goes like this that I don't understand. But broadcasting basically has been going for a long, long time, and it hasn't changed that much. I think if you had to put one change to it, it would be that programming now is done in very little pieces. It's just a very short duration program because we assume that people's intelligence will only hold a minute now, where in the old days everything was half an hour. A newscast, an average newscast was 15 minutes.
Is shorter better? Is broadcasting better now than it was 25, 35 years ago, or if you had a chance, would you go back and do it all again the way it was?
If I had a chance, I still believe that many of the things that we did 25 years ago were better broadcasting than they are today. But maybe that's why I have to hire managers that won't do what I say, because I'd likely be out of business. I guess what I'm saying is that I don't like broadcasting as it's done today nearly as much as I like broadcasting as it was done 20 years ago.
What are we seeing there?
Yes, that's the way the building looked some years after we had rebuilt it, because the television studio is already visible in the back of it. Originally, of course, that didn't exist. I might say that there were tears in a few eyes, including Mark Van Hertz, when she saw this house being bulldozed down, because we'd been in it quite a while.
Group shot here again in front of the original CFTK building.
Yeah, a number of people, all right. Dave Estikel, who was one that was here practically from day one, started up on the mountain. John Dando, I see, who's still here, and John's hair is down to his shoulders. I guess that's, I think it's a little shorter now.
Much.
And I see Barb Barneswell in that group, Katie McEwen.
Being a reporter, this looks very familiar to me, a newsroom and a reporter.
Yes, this is a reporter, all right. This is Keith Tutt, who was extremely well known for news in the area.
And this is where we're broadcasting from today, although it looks much different and much bigger, but there it is originally.
Oh, that's when it was still Overweighty Foods, yes. Well, what happened on that is when we decided we had to have more space for television, it was pretty well impossible to build on the same location and still keep on the air. And when Overweighty moved out, this seemed to be a logical deal, so we finished Overweighty store into a television and radio station, moved over, and then we're able to bulldoze down the old house, and it now turns into what is presently the Manpower.
The next 25 years for Skeena Broadcasters?
Well, that's going to be in hands such as yours, not mine. That's a cinch. I'm not going to be in it for another 25 years, but broadcasting is going to remain. It'll change. I mean, now, as you know, we're in AM and FM and television and cable, and it will change. And I look for great changes in cable in the next few years. I think we'll have multiple channels, 30 channels at least, that everybody will have. And I think our pricing, because regulations are changing, our pricing will get more in line with the lower mainland, because the satellite doesn't really care whether it's looking at Vancouver or Terrace. So as soon as we can get some regulations out of Ottawa, I think this is all going to be possible. So I think we're still going to be a viable broadcasting operation. It may not be in the same form as it is today, but it'll be there.
The first phase of the plan could see the establishment of a full-service marina that could accommodate about 250 boats. The $4.5 million proposal would see a new boat basin dredged from the area presently occupied by the parking lot. A new breakwater and floats anchored by pilings will provide much more secure moorage than is presently available. Plans call for the total upgrading of the water and electrical systems and the provision of boater services such as maintenance facilities, a boat lift, and things that visiting boats need, like showers and a laundromat. Gerald Amos, the chief councillor of the Haisla, sees the proposal as helping his people become players in the economic development game.
The project itself is, if it comes to the realization of an actual first-class facility, is good from the Haisla's point of view, in that we are looking to become a larger player in the economic fabric of the Northwest, in particular our tribal territory. And for the region, I suppose that there are a couple of areas that it's going to enhance the area. And then number one is in the tax base. I understand, and I am quite confident saying that a large number of taxpayers in the area are concerned with the service that's being provided by the facility, given that it's coming out of their pocket, so to speak. And secondly, perhaps more importantly, we have reached a conclusion, I think, in this final report, Phase 2 report, that has been common knowledge all along, that boaters in general, whether they're from the region or they're from Prince George or other points east on the Yellowhead Highway, are looking for a destination that provides all of the amenities that they'd find, say, in China Creek in Port Alberni or Mosquito Creek in Vancouver. So that's basically, I think, is the bottom line, is that people are looking for a good facility.
As far as funding is concerned, the Haisla hope to get small craft harbours monies if they can get agreement on the site location from all the parties involved. The band also has access to special economic development funds only available to native Indians. Along with the marina proposal is a plan for a full-service recreational vehicle park and campground on Haisla land adjacent to MK Bay. Several obstacles still have to be overcome. The land is presently under long-term lease to the regional district from Alcan, and the funding has to be in place as well. The band is looking at a possible start late next fall. It was obvious from the reaction of many of the boat owners present that can't come soon enough for many of them.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.